as a state that I just figured it was being like a tarnished reputation in terms of folks trying to badmouth someone who's has no quarrel or so just basically having remarks by just random folks that don't get what you're about in terms of stuff that you try to explain. It's like a two-way streak and it's only one-sided. And it demonstrated that is really, in fact, the person who has a mole inside of their face in 2004 was high school losing gain weight, and anybody with losing gain weight, and this is explained that, and this basically your weight fluctuates at one point, and being that if you inherit diabetes since birth, glaucoma and all that high blood pressure goes into all that. I just figured it wasn't right to explain how many times people would ridicule you saying a bunch of creepy shit without realizing it's not what you put inside. Like eating that is relatively necessary for them to say you would eat 3 times a day. And I looked in back in 2017, before 2018, my weight fluctuated and had borderline diabetes, and all that's on my Facebook. And this is YouTube, and on Twitter, I have my glaucoma basically having uh, no way of acknowledging all that stuff. Really was fucking weird to have that in terms of the diagnosis and not being able to cope. But figured I wasn't anybody else that doesn't have that. They can't put makeup on a person. This is it would can't just do weird shit and tell you a bunch of creepy shit on one given time and not be able to basically have that on one person by tarnishing their name and being a subject of being ridiculed by folks who have nothing better to do than punk a person. But I figured that's just basically how if you anything you post can come back to haunt you in terms of stuff, and it really wasn't that bad. But figuring this stuff to just talk crap about a person without realizing that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and then they can't go sign the other guy that doesn't have a mole inside of his face and didn't have weird abdomen surgery to go along with the colon cancer diagnosis. Like I said, was fucked up to have in 2005, having creepy fucking surgery done at underage and basically bad advice at Briarcliff, where I went at one point in time where I kept going until 2015 or 16. Had no way of knowing that they just basically use insurance money that pays them just to give you bad advice and stuff that they don't care about the person well-being or anything. They don't follow up on the person. They don't care. They just take the whatever insurance you have at the time. I had a card from high school years of the Dr. Stanley, the provider, with his last name on it, and I still have it, but I'm not going to show any of that because I don't want to basically. I know I gave my information out before, but I didn't give out like really about the insurances and stuff that I had at one point in time and how to go forth and just basically figuring that if you're sound minded to know times and dates with the gameplay elements, and then a year later go forth and pin it on Twitter where you show the basically demonstrating how to do that and basically doing that multiple times with Shenmue. I was with Evan, and Evan basically understands that I would eat, but they tell me to eat 3 times a day on bad advice again. That they go forth and I listen to all the advice where I be at. Like they could keep saying that all sorts of different things, listen to what they're saying. Made me diabetic by prescribing me medication that probably could make a person diabetic if they had really did take it every day for a notion for fucking how many years that is of having insurance until high school until the point of having all that done to you without realizing that if nobody cares, and what the fuck's the point of having to go to those appointments for if they're going to do a person raggedy. I demonstrated that it really was the person that they can't go forth and give it to somebody else, like I said, because that'd be fucking raggedy. And I just realized that that's why I said I was Lucifer in terms of stuff, because people really call me the devil in terms of stuff that happens with no control over what occurs and how it says and what people do to other people and how cruel and messed up world that it is. in terms of stuff, how they live creepy shit to a person and give bad reviews and places and stuff. But I think as many places, I don't have as many listings as a few places. I don't know how else to explain person's sort of well-being. If they cared about your well-being and it was stated under the person, you only have three names, a first, middle, and last name. And I stated that I realized people will make a mockery out of what you post in terms of saying creepy shit to people, and I don't know why the fuck they're able to do that. And I only can word things in terms of stuff and having photographs or whatever demonstrating what that court of how it's two-way street and it's one-sided.